Hi, my name is Cecilia, and today I'm going to talk about working environment. What do we mean when we say working environment? What are the benefits of having a good working environment? And how are we actually going to achieve this? In Norway, we have been discussing these questions extensively for the last few years. In particular, what is working environment? How do we define it? Is it defined by the law? In Norway, our Working Environment Act says that employers are legally required to ensure safe working conditions and equal treatment among workers, as well as ensure that the working environment forms a basis for health promoting and a meaningful work situation. A more public definition is that a good working environment is more closely related to well-being and welfare, like social interaction and relationships between co-workers, or motivational factors such as coffee and cake on Fridays, gym memberships and exercise during working hours, healthy food in the cafeteria, company parties, and so on. And both the requirements set by law and the welfare and social factors are important parts of our working environment. However, the most important part is the work itself, our work tasks, and how we carry out our work. So, the social partners in Norway decided to come together to make our own definition of what the working environment is all about. Because it's only when we agree on what it is that we can do better. And here it is. The working environment is all about the work. It's about how you organize, plan, and execute the work. And to do that, we need to understand that working environment is different from workplace to workplace and requires different approaches. But what do we mean by this? Organizing work can, for example, be about something as basic as having enough people at work at the right time. But it's also about facilitating that everyone can collaborate with each other, that the employees know what to do, and that they have the opportunity to participate in the planning of their work. Do you, for example, have all the equipment and knowledge you need to start your workday, or to take on a new task? To plan the work is to get an overview of the tasks, both in the short and long term. If a house is to be built, a plan must be made for what materials and personnel are needed, and of course, what the house should actually look like. On the construction site, proper organization and planning can help ensure that the budget does not burst and that deadlines are met. If you work in a nursing home, you have a long-term plan for nursing and care in the ward. A plan is also made every morning for what the day should look like. This forms the basis for how the work is carried out. How we execute or carry out the work is dependent on it being well planned and organized. If it is, it will be a good day at work. At the nursing home, the health professional can succeed in helping several residents. On the construction site, the carpenter can look at the floor plan and start his work when all of the plans and necessary tools have been prepared. So why is this so important? Why are we talking about this? Because the work environment affects employees' health, job engagement, and the company's results and productivity. We know that working is good for our health, but unfortunately, we also know that work can make us sick. In all workplaces, there are conditions in the work environment that can affect our health, both physically and mentally. These will vary from industry to industry, from workplace to workplace, and from department to department. It is therefore important to find out what the working environment at your own workplace is like and what is especially important to be aware of. Workers on the construction site can have a physically heavy job. If the work is poorly organized, it can result in them making unnecessarily many heavy and uncomfortable lifts. It increases both the risk of them getting musculoskeletal disorders and the risk of injuries and accidents. If the health professional meets conflicting expectations from several people around him and is unsure of which tasks to prioritize, he or she is in a role conflict. Being in a work situation where such a role conflict constantly arises is stressful and can cause mental and physical health problems. In addition to being absolutely crucial for employees' health, the working environment is also important for the workplace's results. In Norway, we have calculated that a non-optimal working environment can cost companies 30 billion euros per year. More and more people are also realizing that a good working environment means better competitiveness. ISSA, the International Social Security Association, showed that for every 10 euro invested in working environment, it will double your company's profitability. Also, more and more international research show that work environment intervention is profitable. A Swedish study showed employees produce 38% less if there's a problem at work. So, if the working environment is good, well organized, planned and executed, more is produced, profitability is improved, and the quality of the work done is higher. So how do we achieve a good working environment in practice? First, we'll take a look at who is or should be involved in working with a working environment. The manager always has the overall responsibility for the working environment in the workplace. It follows from the law. The manager is required to have knowledge and requirements that apply to the company, to ensure that systematic health and safety work is carried out at all levels in the company, to involve and cooperate with employees and safety representatives, and to undergo statutory training in health and safety work. The safety representative shall look after the employees' interests in matters concerning the working environment. As a safety representative, you must ensure that the workplace has the optimal design and that it is maintained properly, and that the work is carried out in such a way that consideration for the safety, health and welfare of the employees is taken care of. Traditionally, it has been the safety representative who has worked most with work environment issues with a strong health and safety focus. However, the trade union representative can also have an important role and help strengthen the working environment work that is already taking place in the workplace. The trade union representative is the link between the management and the employees and is therefore in a unique position to work with the working environments with organization planning and execution through the local party cooperation. Employees are also an important actor. They shall cooperate when it comes to the company's systematic health and safety work, and they shall actively participate in implementing measures to create a safe working environment. Other important actors in the working environment in Norway are the working environment committees that are mandatory in companies with at least 50 employees. Employer and employee representatives are represented with an equal number, as well as the occupational health services. The committee shall participate in the planning of the protection and environmental work in the company, and closely monitor the development of the working environment. The committee may demand that the employer implement specific measures to improve the working environment. All employers in Norway also have a duty to link their company to an approved occupational health service, if the risk conditions so require. The occupational health services shall be experts and advisor in preventive health, environment and safety work, and shall assist the employer and the employees in following up the working environment and making suggestions for improvements. So how should these people work together to achieve a good working environment? Let's start with an example. Imagine a workplace with high sick leave. The trade union representative, safety representative, and leader sit down together. They want to find out why the sick leave is so high. The trade union representative says that many employees struggle to reach everywhere, and it is difficult to prioritize between the many unsolved tasks. This leads to irritation and misunderstanding between employees and between employees and management. The safety representative says that new regulation leads to an increased obligation to document and less room to make their own choices. The manager says employees report problems and frustration only afterwards. This makes it difficult to get an overview and to solve the challenges when they arise. It becomes clear to all parties that they have problems in the work environment related to how the work is done, or really how the job is organized, planned, and carried out. Unclear expectations and poor communication exacerbate the problems. But the fact that the manager, safety representative, and trade union representative sat down together and acknowledged that they have problems in the workplace was crucial for going in the right direction in the continued work with their working environment. Now, in order to succeed with the preventive work, there are 3 key things we must keep in mind. The preventive work, the measures, if you will, must be needs-based, knowledge-based, and systematically implemented. Needs-based means that the measures must respond to real needs. What is actually the problem? What do we need to change? Knowledge-based means that we must have measures that we know work and is documented to be effective. Maybe there is even research on what works. And systematically implemented means that the measures become part of the daily operation and are followed up, for example, every day or every week, and that they are allowed to work over time. It must be worked on continuously and preferably in advance. So, when we say that the first meeting between a safety representative, trade union representative, and manager is so important, it's because together they can acknowledge problems related to work. So how can you, as a trade union representative, contribute to the working environment? Traditionally, it has been the safety representative who has worked most with working environment issues, with a strong health and safety focus. However, the trade union representative can also have an important role and help strengthen the work that is already taking place in the workplace. The trade union representative is the link between the management and the employees and is therefore in a unique position to work with the working environment through the local cooperation. You should participate in regular meeting points with the manager and safety representative to help clarify risk and improvement areas of special challenges in the workplace. It is important to participate in clarifying expectations between the manager, safety representative, and yourself on how you will work together to set goals and develop the working environment. You can ensure that your members are aware of their rights and duties to create a good working environment. Help facilitate, together with the employer and safety representative, that members and other employees have the opportunity to raise their competence in the work with the working environment, participate in discussion, and make their input and suggestions for improvement. Make sure that minutes from the meetings are taken down, so it will be easier to ensure that what you agree on is followed up. And lastly, I'm going to give you an example of a work process with 3 steps: the status meeting, preventive measures, and an action plan. The first step in how you can work with this is that the manager, safety representative, trade union representative, and maybe other relevant parties have a meeting to discuss status. And important questions that you can ask are: what are the biggest challenges with us? Which factors in our workplace are affecting our work environment? Can we describe some situation from our own workday? Are there any typical work tasks or situations that are more problematic than others? Are there other things with us that are more relevant, maybe? When you have identified this, the next step is to have a meeting to discuss preventive measures. Here you can ask, what are we good at? Find 3 conservation points. Is there anything we can do better? Find 3 areas of improvement. Are there certain aspects of the job that we should focus on in particular? Are there work tasks that can be organized differently? Are there other factors in our work environment that we should address, and how? And lastly, step 3 is to make an action plan. Based on the proposal in the second meeting, you should set up a concrete action plan for how you will continue the work with the working environment. The action plan should be hung on the wall or made visible in some way so that everyone is reminded of the measures every day. The results from the work process should also be taken further into formal bodies for working environment and HSE work. And to succeed, it is important to make the job with the work environment a continuous process with systematic follow-up. So to sum up, the working environment is all about the work. It's about how you organize, plan, and execute the work. And the best way to achieve a good working environment is when the manager, safety representatives, and the trade union representatives come together in the workplace. Because it's when you work together that you find the best solutions. Thank you for listening, and good luck.